Hey guys, what's up today? It's the Casual Coder, and today I'm going to be doing a quick video just talking about what resources you need, or what resources you should use to learn coding in 2020, and how you can go from working on something really basic to working on things much more complex. In this example here, I'm showing off my one of my university projects that I was working on. To those who actually understand it, it's actually not that hard, but to those who are very new to coding, it might look very complex. But before I get started talking about the resources that I use personally that have helped me along my way, there are three things I want to mention. The first of which, to be a successful coder, and just to learn coding in general, you need to firstly have dedication. Coding is definitely, in some parts, easy, but also some parts very hard. It's easy in the sense that once you get started, once you gain an understanding, you can pick up new skills relatively quick. But the hard part comes from actually dedicating yourself, taking the time to learn the skill, taking the time to debug certain issues you have, taking the time to learn syntax, documentation. That's where you need dedication, because if you don't stick to it, then the learnings you do, the ideas you discover, they'll just slip out of your head. And then one day, when you come back to the code after taking a week off, it just won't make sense. So the first thing you need is dedication. And linking into that, once you've dedicated yourself, set time aside to do a little bit of coding each day, do some readings, some problems. What you need then is practice. You need, like any skill, like all those Nike ads, you just need to keep practicing, willing yourself, and just doing repetition over time. And that's how you'll be able to develop your skills as a coder. Because, in a sense, a lot of coding is just applying the same skills, but just to different problems. So, without having a sense of having practiced, or just going straight into something, you'll have no clue, and you'll get lost and frustrated, and then you just don't want to code. So that's why it's important, or very important, to have practice. So, now that you've got dedication, and you've got practice covered, what you need now is a way to practice and dedicate yourself. And that's why you need resources. Thankfully, we live in an age where resources are plentiful, and the internet is just everything. We have so much available to us. But in that sense, since we have so much, it's hard to pick what's good and what would be beneficial for you. Therefore, over the course of this video, I'm going to show off some of the resources that helped me in my coding journey and how I learned to code. One note I want to make before I get into the resources that I've used is that at all costs, you do not want to get stuck down a rabbit hole. And for those who aren't aware what a rabbit hole is, it's just basically you see some resource or some website, oh, that looks kind of handy, I might use that, and you start clicking through it. And then, okay, you see another link, oh, let me click that, might be helpful. You click that, and you just keep going, spiraling into different websites, different links, videos, etc. But you're not really learning anything. So what you need to do is avoid going down rabbit holes, stick to one thing, and be succinct. Just, instead of trying to click on so many different things and learn so many things at once, your brain will get overloaded, you get confused, you might forget. It's better off for you just to learn things slowly, but also methodically. Pick, for example, one skill you want to learn, like for example, if you want to learn HTML, stick with it. There's no point of you learning CSS or JavaScript at the same time, because if you're doing that, all you're going to do is just confuse yourself. So stick to one thing at a time and avoid at all costs going in rabbit holes. The first resource I'm going to talk about is YouTube. In my opinion, I think YouTube is probably my favorite resource. This is because there's such a variety of YouTube channels and offerings out there, and different teaching styles to suit any person. With that, I'll list a whole bunch of YouTube channels in the description that you should check out. But some of my favorite YouTube channels are. The first channel I want to talk about is Kalle, or Kalle. Apologies if I butchered his name. He does some great videos on automation and just Python and Flutter. The next is Mayuko. She does some great videos just on life as a software developer and just how to get into the industry. The next two are Sentdex and Jabrils. They do some really good videos on just AI and learning automation and machine learning. So I definitely would recommend those two if you're interested in that field. John Fish is another one. He does some really good just videos in general. Like really like his production style, and some of his tutorials just like of him just coding and working through stuff is really like inspiring. Forrest Knight is another YouTuber who talks about working in the industry, things he wishes he had learned, and just someone who just shares their experiences about coding in general. And Back is probably one of my favorites because they teach you a lot about what you will need in interviews. So about your algorithms, your dynamic programming, sorting and searching, etc., etc. And they teach it in a really fun and convenient way. The next resource I'm going to talk about is Reddit. There are so many subreddits that I could talk about, but for the sake of this video, I picked my two favorites. Those are Learn Programming and Ask Computer Science. The reason I picked those two is because they're geared towards people who are new to coding and those who are beginners. So they're tailored towards people who want to learn computer science and want to learn coding. The next resource I want to talk about is Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is, to me, the be-all end-all of problem solving. If you have a question, for example, like this, about arrays that I typed in, Stack Overflow is more than likely to have an answer for it, because it's based off people who've had similar issues in the past. So someone will ask a question like, how do you fix this, how do you do this, and you're more than likely going to find someone who's already given an answer to it. And it's really helpful for just debugging and learning on your own, and just doing a lot of problem solving. GitHub is the next one. Shameless plug. Feel free to follow my GitHub and follow what I get up to. But on GitHub, there are a lot of repositories and just resources available. One of them is John Walsham's. He compiled all of the things he learned and the skills he thought would be necessary for coding interviews at a university type level. And another is someone who forked their repository and made their own based on their experiences trying to interview for Google. That second one is a lot more comprehensive and in depth, but I would recommend checking them, as well as others that you can just search up. Newbie, how to code in HTML, how to code in React. There's so many repositories out there that can help you for that. And finally, others. There's so many more that I could talk about, but I've just listed a few that are kind of miscellaneous that have helped me. One is the Odin project. So I've been using it to learn Ruby on Rails. So a lot of this has been really helpful, and it's really nicely designed, the website. There's Khan Academy, there's Code Academy, there's Code Avengers, there's so many more. And probably one of my favorites as well is Cracking the Code Interview. I definitely would recommend getting the book if you have it available or can have access to it. If not, I'll link a PDF link for it. But I definitely feel that Cracking the Coding Interview encompasses a lot of the things that I've already mentioned previously, as well as a lot of the resources and ideas that I feel you need to become a coder or a better programmer in general, and if you're looking to apply for a coding job or software development job, how you can actually get into a job and successfully pass an interview. But yeah, feel free to leave any more resources in the comments. I'm always keen to check some out because I'm always learning, and I think everyone should always be learning. But yeah, if you really like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. This year, my goal is to actually build a YouTube channel and, finally get that off the ground and just help more people in general and just express my story. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time.